empty store shelves, backed up boats, and an industry struggling to find drivers.
The pressures to drive,
and sometimes crash. That's video from a case now under investigation in Florida. This man says he is grateful he never got into an accident, but the fear he might led him to quit his job as a truck driver after just 2 months. He asked us not to use his name and protect his identity. You'll understand why in a moment.
Pretty much no sleep sometimes, 4 hours of sleep. The most that I drove was about 30 hours straight.
By law, drivers at most can spend 11 hours behind the wheel each day, and they have to get 10 hours of rest between each shift. Drivers must track their hours to prove they are following the law.
If the driver's too tired to drive, he's more likely to have a wreck. And when a commercial vehicle has a crash, if it's a tractor trailer, then that can be catastrophic.
We can kill people. We can kill ourselves. It's a massive danger.
Still, this whistleblower shared with us text messages and driving logs that appear to show his company manipulated his hours to keep him on the road longer.
On the log, it say 5 hours, 38 minutes. After they changed this, if you see it in this paper, it say 1 minute. Every time I run out of time, he go on the e-log and erase my previous hours and give me a fresh 11 hours.
He doesn't know exactly who does it or how it happens. He received this message from a number in India telling him to keep driving.
I just did what they told me to do.
We wanted to talk with the company about his claims and finally caught up with Jacob. He wouldn't give us his last name, but said he was responsible for assigning the shifts. So just to be clear, you are saying that you are not altering the driver logs in any way?
No, he did not. He can make up anything he wants to because he got the access.
Jacob calls the man a disgruntled employee because he had to pay for a bumper damaged during his last run with the company, a matter now tied up in court.
It's all false allegation.
According to the Department of Transportation, more than 20% of truck driving violations in Georgia are for falsifying or failing to fill out a driver's log. Attorney Stefano Portigliatti, who represents the man injured in this crash, says some companies look for creative ways to get around the system.
You see drivers with multiple logins. So you log in, you run out of time. All right, now switch to your other login. There aren't many tricks the driver can do on their own, right? Who sets up the user accounts? The company does, right? Who is dispatching a driver on the load?
This driver points out his own text messages coming from a number that links back to the company.
This is me texting him, he replying back, "You good to go, you got 11 hours fresh time."
Well, the DOT would see this log showing the driver spent several days off the road. His paycheck says he traveled nearly 6,000 miles that week. That means he would have had to drive more than 1,400 miles a day when he was on the road at an average speed of 134 miles per hour to not go over his daily limit. According to an open records request with the DOT, the company had an unsatisfactory safety rating and wasn't allowed to even operate during that time. So if someone does drive over and the company knows it and the driver knows it, they're really just gambling, hoping that you don't find out about it.
We catch a great deal of them if they're in error, but some of them are going to get by. It's like anything else. You can't stop everybody that's doing something wrong.
I did talk with 2 other drivers who say they were forced to falsify their logs in order to keep their job. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration says it did investigate the driver's claims, but we couldn't find any reports of that. And despite repeated requests for information, no one is talking. All we know is that the case is closed and the company is still doing business.